Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for tuning into this Your Overseas Home webinar on using a property finder, a buying agent to find and purchase your ideal French home. My name is Richard Way from Your Overseas Home, and I'll be hosting this session. It's great to have you watching, whether you're watching live or on our recorded version, which is available through our on-demand webpage. So we're talking about the role and value of using a property finder or a buying agent in France today. And we'll be highlighting what they are, how they're different to an estate agent, and their importance, especially for international buyers, what benefits they can offer, and what to expect from them in terms of the service and how they can support you. Chances are that as a non-resident foreigner looking to buy French property for the first time or second time, whether that's a vacation home, a permanent residence, or to retire, or even an investment property, you're not actually based in France at this time. This adds a whole new dimension to property hunting compared to if you're looking in your home country or wherever you're living at the moment. So, cue the property finder and how they can help you. And today we're fortunate to have one here to chat with us and share lots of information and useful tips and advice, and that is Severine from a company called Vesper Immobilier. I know they've got offices in the Languedoc, but Severine's going to tell us more about the company in a minute, and she's based down there. So Severine offers a bespoke service to her international clients, covering all aspects of searching for your property and buying it, making sure it completes successfully and without any problems. And she's kindly agreed to chat to us today. So if you're serious about buying in France, you're ready to take the next step, Severine could be the one to make that happen. Welcome, Severine. Thanks for joining us and giving up your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. So this is a question and answer session. We've got about 30 minutes. We can go over a bit if we've got lots of questions or we haven't finished saying what we need to say. I'm going to ask Severine some questions, hopefully covering off everything we think you need to be thinking about, but of course we welcome questions from you as well if you're watching live. To ask a question, please use the tool that you should be able to see on your dashboard. If you just type it in there, I can then pass the question on to Severine. I will say having her here available today is a great opportunity. She's in France, so she's not always easy to get hold of. She's a busy lady, so do make use of having her here. Right, so let's get started. Severine, do you want to just tell us a bit about the background of Vesper and how you came to be and what your sort of core services are? Just tell us about how you operate.
So I come from a legal background and also a business development background. So I have been working with property for the last 15 years in France, both on the legal side, conveyancing side, and also on the advisory side as a graduate in international law myself, specializing in international clients always. When I created Vesper, I wanted to be a little bit more than a property finder. Traditionally, an agent in France is a listing agent. And property agent has listings and they will sell you what they have in store. Property finder is someone who is located in a particular area and they will limit their service to finding the property, which is a lot already, but this is all they will do. They will find the property, they will help with the negotiation, and then they will hand everything over to the notaire for them to process the conveyancing. What we do is we do full service. So we tend to, our clients reach out to us really early in the process. Most of the time they haven't set their heart on a particular area. Sometimes in France, sometimes they're still hesitating between countries in Europe. They have specific questions because we bring a level of expertise, so they can be tax questions, they can be investment questions, they can be estate management question, inheritance, you name it, as well as lifestyle and the usual questions that come with selling property. So we create a trust relationship from early on because we are with them every step of the way, but we will also put them together with other specialists so they can check what we've said. They can double check if the advice really fits to them. And if they have complicated plans, such as, for example, a family I recently spoke to who needed to set up a business in France, we'll be doing the support for that particular thing as well. And we'll optimize everything related to tax as far as their personal circumstances. So it's very bespoke, but it's quite specific. And to finish with this quickly, the difference between us and a listing agent is we have a handful of listing, which is properties that stand out, that we have proved through and through, but it's a handful. And we are not region limited. So we work with every portfolio everywhere where our clients need us to go. We have agents in different regions of France, and so yeah, we are very supportive of the search of the right place and the right lifestyle for the person that contacts us.
So you are working exclusively for your clients who are looking to buy property. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we in France, the system is made in such a way that if you want to negotiate a property well, you need to be talking to a buyer agent who can know the true value of the property you're looking at, not the sale value, not the sale price, but really what this property is worth. And if we have the level of expertise, we are the best place to negotiate and to get the best deal.
And you yourself, you're based in the Languedoc, you said, in the lovely town, the beautiful old city of Carcassonne.
Absolutely.
But you said you can cover the whole of France, wherever they
We
might
are
be looking.
very mobile.
Yeah.
We're very mobile. We know a lot of areas. Myself, I'm always on the road, but I have agents who are local to different areas of France. So they have a specific advice. We tend to, I mean, we're very collaborative. So we work with local agents that we've had relationships with over the years. So our knowledge of a particular area is quite extensive. So we are often organizing viewing trips for our buyers in a particular area to see if what they're expecting is really what they're going to find over there.
Yeah, so this sounds ideal for someone who is looking to buy in France and they're living abroad, because presumably they can contact you remotely via email, via WhatsApp, whatever, and then what you'll build up a profile of that client and what they need, their budget, all the important information, and then you'll go and look around and present options to them. So just tell us what a typical journey of a client is. So if someone after today's session, for example, contacted you and said, I'm ready, let's chat and let's I want to use you, how would you take that
It
through
really
to?
starts with a conversation. There's a lot of listening involved on our side. We want to know as much as we can from the client, from their tastes. So we will send a few properties their direction, which are, even if they're not attached to a particular region, we want to see what they like to see, what they would like to live in. We need to be really close to the lifestyle they would like to have. Because often what we are going to do is we're going to challenge an idea. They might say, okay, this is the way I like to live, and I'd like to be in the southwest of France somewhere. And we'll be thinking, I don't think this is going to fit exactly to what you like. So let's visit some things there. But let's organize a viewing trip where we can take you out of that remote comfort zone as such, and help you find maybe something that would fit a little bit better. And then we get to know each other. So it's quite a long process, really, for people who have a bit of time. So that's when people contact us early in time. And sometimes we're contacted at a moment where the client is really ready to make a move. So again, we organize a viewing trip, but we also organize video viewings if the client is remote. So we'll visit the property live with the client. We have a lot of technical equipment to make sure that they can see everything about the property. And we'll also take them out of the property so they can realize how close they are to amenities and everything else that they need. Often our clients are not set on a particular town. They really come to us with a desire of, a certain type of landscape, certain type of climate, and then their needs. Do they need to commute? To where, all of that. So we tend to offer a few different options and start from there.
Okay, and when you've presented your client with some options, or you identified a location, a region, and then you've got some options for them, then what happens? They'll come over and do a viewing. Is that normally what happens?
If they have the possibility to come over right away, they will come over and do a viewings or do a few days of viewing. So we organize viewing trips, really. So we'll show them properties, but we will also show them the towns that the properties are next to. We will give them the best idea of the lifestyle so they really know that this is the right fit for them or not. And we'll organize all that. Or if they can't come for the first visit, we'll do that visio visit. We'll organize a second visit, because for us, it's really important. I mean, some clients sometimes suggest that they should not come to the property at all. And we always insist that it should be there. It really is important when you're going to relocate, even if it's not a full change, even if it's a secondary home, you should visit the place. So we try to do everything so that they can be here, take enough time to see everything. And then we, at the same time, try to present the legal system and the conveyancing system with them, because the system in France is extremely proactive. I've worked in many countries all over Europe and some other countries in the world, and the French system has the best customer support. If you're on the buyer side, you're extremely protected. So you have to know this to feel comfortable with the process. We spend a lot of time explaining that, and we can add conditions indeed really early that make people feel a little bit safer. For example, if someone has found almost the ideal house, but it would be better with a swimming pool, it would be better with an outbuilding, then we make sure that that planning permission is a condition of the sale, so that the day they complete the sale, they have everything they need to proceed with the project. And
So you
because
get,
we are very hands-on, we
yeah.
do at some point organize artisans, organize architects. We cover everything. We are full service through and through. We'll take care of visa questions, you name it. So the more we listen to people, the more we know what it is that we need, and we can put them in touch with the right support team so that their dream comes true.
So things like the contract, sales contract, you get involved with that, do you? And drawing that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
And
was acting as a part of a notarial firm, as mentioned earlier, so I'm very familiar with drafting them myself. So I am involved every step of the way. We work with the notaires hand in hand, and sometimes during the final appointments, we are still there voicing extras to add for the protection of our clients, and it seems to be working pretty well.
and for a client who can't come to France often, if they come over and do a viewing and then they go back to the UK or America or wherever, is there a way that you can progress the transaction without them being there? Do they need to sign power of attorney, or can you literally do the contract, obviously approve it remotely, and then set the notaire signing up? This can all be done without them having to
Absolutely.
come back. Yeah.
Absolutely. The notaires will organize a video meeting so that they will, for example, read the draft to them, read the power of attorney to make sure that they have the freedom to ask questions, understand the system. We will be present there to support all of this as well. And then they can sign whether the deed or the power of attorney remotely and process with the sale. So from the visit is the moment where one person should be here, really. But if they can't be here until very much later in the process, that is not a problem at all.
Fantastic. And when it comes to actually doing the viewings, would you normally
Mhm.
do those? Presumably, you have a network of agents all over the country,
Yes.
and that's how you find your
Mhm.
properties. So
Yeah.
when you have a viewing, will the agent be there and one of you or your team, or how does it work? Will it just be
We'll
your
always send someone from our team,
Okay.
depending on the area, and also depending on the people. We tend to have people in our team that are of different nationalities, and sometimes there are specific questions. For example, we have American agents, and sometimes our American clients are more comfortable to talk to them. Sometimes it's the same with our British agents. So it all depends what people feel more comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then I'll always oversee the progress of the dossier myself. I'm here for any questions, especially when it comes to inheritance questions, tax questions, everything. I'll jump in all the time. I'm easy to reach. So we use WhatsApp, we use all video softwares really, and we follow that every step of the way.
Perfect. And the other thing, we were talking about this before we went live, but
Mhm.
the advantage of what you do is you can access and you can go and find properties that might be off market or
Yes,
might be sold through more, because France is, it's lots of small agents really dotted around the countryside, and there are obviously larger, more institutional focused agencies, but you can actually go and speak to the more local ones who are geared more towards the domestic market, because they might have something
absolutely.
for clients. So that is, that's a big advantage of what you do, surely.
Of course, I mean, we facilitate the language barrier. Obviously, we remove it completely. We will go to the local smaller agents. We are very collaborative, and because we are not a listing agent per se ourselves, or we list just a handful, as we said, we are not a competition to them. So we work with them. They're normally quite happy to work with us because with us they access that international market. So they tend to tell us, for example, ahead of time, if a particular listing is going to come in their portfolio sometime soon. So we have always a heads up, if you'd like. And the other way also is we have an extensive network with my previous career working in law and conveyancy. People involved tend to call me when they have something interesting, as they know our clientele is quite varied. We have different specs for everybody, so we are very aware. We're very informed. So it's a good way. I really enjoy working like this. It's a good way to work, and because our fee is shared, if you will, because our fee is shared in the real estate fee that's already included in most other prices, our fee becomes a part of that fee, so we don't come extra. So we are a level of protection that doesn't cost you extra money if you're buying a professional listing.
Okay, oh, you just answered actually. There's two questions about your fees.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, no, but I was going to ask you that because so what you're saying is your fee is taken care of within the commission structure with your agent anyway, so there's nothing on top. Well,
No,
that's good.
absolutely. There's only something if we find a private listing, we have to do all the proofing of that listing. Very often a private individual would have listed their house, and if it fits the criteria, then we'll go and see it. But when a private individual in France lists their house, they tend to forget that there's all kinds of legal obligations that we have to do as professionals when we list. So we have to have a full set of diagnosis. The dossier has to be quite thorough. So we have to do that. We have to proof it. So even if our client on the buyer side is thinking, I really like that house, we will be cautious. We'll check it out and we'll make sure that whatever our client is spending is what the true value of the property is. So it's not necessarily with us, it's not about the asking price only. It really is about what the property is worth, because when we negotiate on behalf of our client, this is what we are allowed to, we are going to pay. So we end up saving money to most of our clients.
Yeah, and the time that you spend putting together contracts for your buyers, or even negotiating prices, that's all included, is it? So
it's included in the fee. Absolutely, it's included in the fee. And so for some people, sometimes what happens if someone has a particularly complex situation, relocating a business, for example, or anything, we can work on an advisory basis to these people, because often they contact us maybe 2 years prior to coming to France. And we will do a study, and sometimes at the end of that study, they will decide that France is for them or not for them. So then there would be no fee if we waited for the fee from the conveyancy. So when we work on an advisory, we have a fee that we match to the time we're going to spend doing the research and providing the answers to all the questions needed. But it's generally when people come here with a project of buying, that is not necessary, and everything is covered by the fee.
Okay, and just give us an idea of a profile of your typical clients at the moment, if you can. You're saying you've got lots coming from America and even some from the Southern Hemisphere. And is there a budget? Is there a minimum budget that you'll work with? Because obviously you put a lot of time into this, or do you welcome any budgets? What are sort of spends?
We have thresholds according to area, but we find the thresholds that we have match the type of property that people really want when they come from abroad. We work with American clients, we work with English clients, we work with every European nationality and Southern Hemisphere clients. And everybody is used to the level of finish that they find in their country for a particular property. And then you add to that the lifestyle and everything else. So we tend to know when we are contacted by an English client, for example, or an American client, we have an idea what they're looking for. An Irish client, we have an idea what they're looking for. So what we do is try to optimize this really and tick all the boxes. So at the moment, We have more American clients that we've had over the last few years. This region, the region where we are based, which is south of France, and Occitanie, which is one of our specialty, specialty areas. It's a region that attracts a lot of clients anyway, because the weather is lovely. We are close to everything. It's easy to commute. So we have a lot of interest, but this year with more international, more American clients, we've realized that often the budget for a first house is going to be probably half of what the future house will be. So our current clients come to us with what we call a careful budget. And because they don't know really, they've never lived in France, sometimes they've never lived in Europe, they've come here maybe once on holiday, so it's a big move with a lot of uncertainties. And so they tend to have a smaller budget and try us really to see what can we find with this budget. So the typical journey is often that way. What can you find me for this much money? And my lifestyle is such and such. What I like to look at, what I like to live in as a house is such and such. Where can I find this? So we for example, find that medium-sized towns at the moment are very popular in France. And this is when we tend to bring our expertise, because to accommodate the right budget with the right lifestyle, sometimes we tend to move a search to the side and say, right, look at this area. It's lesser known maybe, but you will find everything you're looking for there. And so we've sold a lot of houses in areas that were not known to our clients originally, but they're delighted.
Where are those areas? Because I mean, we all know about the Côte d'Azur, the Riviera is popular, and obviously the Dordogne is a very English area. But can you tell us some of the areas that maybe aren't less well known or less trodden, and value for money?
I mean, very often people will ask us about the Riviera, they'll ask us about Provence, they'll ask us about, the ones who know a little bit more will ask us about the Luberon, and they are lovely areas. But sometimes, depending on the lifestyle that they want and the value for money, we'll move them a little bit towards the Hérault, which is a county where the main town is called Montpellier. So you have a part of this county is touching the sea, but you also have very central in France for the south. So you can reach, you're reaching distance from really big town, and at the same time you're getting a fantastic lifestyle. The outside space, outdoor spaces, and lovely views are big ask at the moment. So we will take people who come to Occitanie to Ariège, for example, to the Gers. We will take them to all the regions around the Pyrenees, because you can get a lot for your money there also, and you are in reach of fantastic places. So we've done a lot of that, and we recently had a search from Normandy, and Normandy is quite a vast region. And we brought our clients to the Manche, which is a small county, where we found a property that was facing the sea. He wouldn't have dreamt of finding something like this. And then he is having a waterfront property for probably half of what he would have spent when he originally looked. And that property was ticking a lot of boxes. So but where it's located, although it's in reach of everything, is a smaller place. It's a smaller town, and those people are delighted.
Yeah, and it's all about that inside local knowledge, obviously, that you can get. And I guess you talked about Normandy, but I mean, do most of your clients want to be further south because of the climate? Is that fair to say?
It's because of the climate, but also we tend to have a lot of active airports that allow commuting back to the UK, to Ireland, from Ireland to the US, for example. We're also very close to Barcelona, that has a huge international airport. Toulouse has a very good international airport. So I think that here they find the weather, but also they find that it is easy to go back and forth to a bigger town elsewhere in Europe or in the world by just jumping on one and maybe two planes, but not more than that. So I think it has a lot to offer.
Yeah. Got a few questions coming in now, so I'm just conscious of the time. We'll come to the questions. I just had one more question for you, so people have an idea of planning and timescales. Someone who is interested in moving to France in the next few months, or they want to, if they're thinking about moving to France, how long does a typical journey take from? I know it can change because people can go backwards and forwards and take a, but an average sort of time to speak with you to actually getting the keys to a property, how much time would you normally tell people to sort of build into it?
Once people have come here and been here in person, it can go quite quickly. Placing an offer and getting, we also within our company, we use a lot of means that allow people to sign, for example, an offer remotely. So we'll do the negotiation for them, and when the offer is accepted, we'll draft the offer and the letter of intention, and between that and the realization of the first deed of purchase, which is what we call the preliminary sale agreement here, commonly known as a compromis or a promesse, it takes about 3 weeks maximum. Then after that, you wait a couple of months, and that's completion. For a cash buyer, if someone requires a mortgage, which is harder to get here for non-residents, to be very honest, then you can add an extra month to that. If there are other conditions such as planning permission, that also pushes the completion date back.
What sort of things can hold a sale up? I mean, I'm guessing you'll know everything about properties that you're showing your clients anyway, so you can warn them. But it's probably if anyone wants.
The classic thing that holds a sale up is the level of competence of the listing agent. If they don't have a really good dossier on the property, then you keep on having surprises as you go. And that really is not a nice thing, because when you've committed and something isn't unveiled that really challenges your ownership, that can actually offer the buyer, because obviously that changes the circumstances, that offers the buyer the possibility to withdraw, but they would have lost months. And suddenly they have this terrible news. So most of the time, what we do is proof everything first, even if we add an extra month before we place an offer, so that when the offer is placed, we know exactly what we are dealing with. If something that holds a sale could be, for example, an access right that wasn't very well defined, that can happen over here. So how to get into your property, and then suddenly you realize that the road that leads to your property doesn't belong to you, and it doesn't belong to the town anymore. It doesn't belong to someone else. That's the kind of surprises I'm talking about. And I know it sounds funny. It sounds like, how would people miss that? But people do. And so we have to, we're quite finicky ourselves. We try to put our nose everywhere, but by the time we place an offer, we normally have turned this upside down, and we know how to get there.
Yeah, but that's part of your services. You offer that sort of extra layer of protection,
Absolutely,
and due diligence on the properties that you're going to present to clients. So,
yeah.
Okay, I think this is more of a sort of request for an opinion, but Janine asks, some family members and myself are trying to find a property with at least 2 dwellings with a bit of land. It's not a business, but we want to live together. So they want the family to live across 2 properties.
Sure.
And the preferred location is Nouvelle-Aquitaine. Is that something you could, sounds fairly, not simple,
absolutely.
but something that you could certainly address? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of questions to ask as to what this family wants precisely, and also the lifestyle it's going to come into. But yeah, we can help.
Okay, so I think the best thing is to get in contact after the webinar. Thank you very much, Janine. Question from Margaret. She's got a budget of between 70 and 100,000 sterling, and she's looking to move to the Dordogne, maybe a renovation, but would need a builder. Is that a sort of scenario you could help with, that budget and area? And
with renovation projects, there's always a level of caution, because if people cannot do the works themselves, works can be expensive depending on what needs to be done. Sometimes on the smaller budget, what we advise is to get a property that's a little bit readier to start with, or maybe rent a little bit in the area that they choose, to get to know the area, to make sure that this is the right place for them. And then after that, maybe to start looking into that type of investment, because when you have your own network of artisans, when you start being within the community, then the prices of the artisans can be a little bit cheaper. We help with our local contacts and what we can do, but if you're looking at investing a smaller budget, you definitely don't want to get it wrong. And I think taking the time to know if this is the right place for you, because some of these cheaper properties, Dordogne is not as cheap as people think sometimes, and some of the cheaper properties will be very beautiful on the picture, but very remote, and they will require a level of investment to be of with a quality renovation that might be challenging.
So perhaps an option could be to look at another region that's, because the Dordogne is well known and that, you know, it is appealing and popular. Would
Yes.
somewhere like the
Keep an open
Charente or
mind.
somewhere like that, maybe try a
Yes,
different region where
absolutely.
you get a bit more, yeah, and that's where you could help.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah, that keep an open mind on the region, because the important is to really find what you're looking for and what fits your budget, and to not have a bad surprise. And Dordogne might be a bit on the expensive side.
okay, good advice, thank you. Question from Mark. So if he was employing your services, but after a certain amount of time, you couldn't, or he couldn't find a property that he liked and wanted, after doing viewings, etc. Is there a sort of kill fee? Is there a fee that you would expect because you've given up time and resources?
When we
How do
don't
you?
when we don't sell, when we engage with a buyer, we ask for the buyer to sign a mandate with us. And if we can't find a property, then after so many months, they can cancel it out. And we have taken the option to waste our time. Obviously, this is always a possibility, but we've tried our best. So no, there's nothing owed when you cancel out a mandate. What we found, the only time when we found that it was a little bit challenging was really the expectations of a buyer as to the reality of the place that they had picked. If you probably come to France with a limited budget but no flexibility in the area that you want to live in, you might be very disappointed after a while. And I'm not desperate for the sale. I rather say to people, this is going to be challenging, and you might be disappointed. And we'll put on the hours, we'll put on the effort, but sometimes we have to say to people, we can't help you in this circumstance. I don't want to be the one who disappoints you, and I'm sorry. So it goes a little bit both ways, but I think that honesty is always the best policy for sure.
Yeah, and I suppose like everywhere, you're going to have to compromise on a one thing or two things, or it might just be a small thing, but that's the reality of finding a property, isn't it? And expectations.
Exactly. I understand why people. It's part of having a bit of reassurance to feel like, okay, I think I like this area. I think I like this area. But if you haven't lived there, you don't really know if that's going to fit. So we are bringing the reassurance as well, but it's definitely the flexibility by all means. Expectations and reality, that's always a difficulty, and in something like this, there are some pitfalls which are regular problems bearer. For example, there's everything and it's contrary on social media. I try to tell people to stay a little bit off that, because you can never, you would go mad, because you will find really two opposite opinions, and people get really agitated about things like this. And there's nothing worse for your confidence and your peace of mind that to try and find answers necessarily there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, there are some international advisors that claim to be buyer agents, but they're not legally certified over here. France has a lot of level of certifications, and most of the time they're based abroad. And they tend to sell the areas that they know as opposed to the area that fits the client. So we have had a few horror stories there as well. So maybe definitely that. Keep an open mind, reach out to us, have a conversation with us. We don't charge for that, and see if that fits you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that most of the time clients it's the reverse. They're actually pleasantly surprised about what you can get in France, because if I'm thinking of the UK, and you know, it's a big country, you've got lots of open countryside and villages. It's a good choice of rural properties and coastal properties, and I think the value for money is still there very much. So I would imagine a lot of your clients are like, wow, I can get this.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm going to give you an
Yeah,
example. We have currently an investment property that has a 22% yield. Where do you find a 22% yield? And there is no, I mean, this is something we're turned inside out. We've proved it. It really is a 22% yield.
amazing.
You find opportunities in this country that you obviously would struggle to find for the same money in the UK. And this is the price of a small apartment somewhere around London, not even in London. And so it's you do find some gems out there for sure, but you need someone who has a foot on the ground, because they come and go really quickly. So you have to be,
I'm
when
sure.
it's the type of thing that you're looking for, you have to be ready.
Good, thank you. Another question here. I think I know what he's referring to. It's from Nick. He says, could you say something about property swaps between UK and France? So is that doing an exchange of one property for another? If someone was, you were swapping an English property for a French property instead of selling it. I think.
I don't know if property swap is something that people want to do during the holidays. I know people do sometimes property exchange to go during the holidays. That's a different story. I mean, we don't deal with that. It can be a way to discover an area when you struggle. I mean, some people we have even local clients who are on this program, and so you can find property swap. It's a good way to find if an area is good for you, I suppose.
But that's a holiday. That's like a holiday swap rather than actually swapping.
It is a holiday swap. You don't actually, you can't, there is no such thing as a conveyancing system that allows you from one country to another to exchange literally properties. That doesn't work like that. We have, our systems are very different, whether you do conveyancing in the UK or here or in Spain or in Italy. It's not the same thing. So sadly, they don't match. We're not there yet. Maybe in another 100 years.
Okay. I've got one more question. I know, but we are comfortably over time now, but it's been very interesting, so all worth it. Deirdre asks, how far in advance would you recommend putting together a week of viewing properties? How long in advance would you recommend to put together a week of viewing properties?
I would say that the ideal timing is the one that really fits the buyer, because some people like the reassurance earlier in the process, and they will want to try many areas. If your heart is set on one area, then do the viewing and trip, and then quite close to when you're ready to move on. If you don't know an area in advance, so that you give yourself the possibility to say, right, I'm not really such a fan of that one, let's go and explore some more. That search for the right area can be a bit time consuming.
So find the area really first, and then you know you're
Absolutely.
like, it's a lifestyle, isn't it? It's a lifestyle and an area.
Exactly. And remember that on the buyer agent side, we are on your side. So the more you tell us, the more we get to know you, the better we can help, because we are the ones who are going to fight your corner when it comes to finding the property, negotiating it, and so on. So the more we know our client, the more we can find the right, or advise on the right place.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Severine. It's been really useful. I've learned a lot. We are out of time though, sadly.
We knew that was going to happen.
We knew that was going to happen. I know. I don't know why they only gave us half an hour, but there we are. Thank you for everyone who's watched live, and also if you're watching the recorded version of this, I hope it's been useful. Like I said, it is recorded, so you can revisit the session, and you can send a link to anyone else who you think might find it useful. Again, thank you, Severine. A couple of points from us here at Your Overseas Home. If you did find this useful, we'd appreciate it if you left us a review on the review website Trustpilot. There's a link there. If you click that, there's a link. Also, I have a save the date for you, which is the Your Overseas Homes comprehensive virtual event on the 4th of October this year, and it's from 8 AM to 8 PM UK time, so it means Americans will get some daylight hours to tune in as well. It's a virtual event with agents and service providers attending in real time, so you have to register and then log into a virtual event, and you can actually speak to people like Severine and lawyers, financial advisors, visa specialists, and ask them questions about buying and moving all over the world, all the popular destinations. Got seminars as well, a bit like this format, so you can tune into those and ask questions and hear experts speaking. You can register for free. There's a link on the screen now. So hopefully see you there. Otherwise, that's it from us. Thank you very much again, Severine. Good luck with your buying plans and relocating plans to France. Make use of people like Severine, extremely useful. You've heard what she can offer you, so she's ready to help. Thank you all very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you very much for having me.